There comes a moment in every man's life, quiet, invisible, and irreversible, when he realizes that all his effort, patience, and presence were never truly appreciated. Not because he wasn't enough, but because he was always there. Always reachable. Always giving himself like a gift nobody asked for. And in that moment, he doesn't cry. He doesn't shout. He doesn't plead. He quietly steps down from the pedestal he never belonged on. This isn't heartbreak. This is a resurrection. Men aren't tired because they work too hard. They're exhausted because they give too much of themselves. They answer texts they shouldn't. They solve problems they didn't create. They sacrifice energy they can't afford to lose. And for what? A fleeting smile, a compliment, temporary closeness that vanishes the moment they stop performing. Carl Jung called this a psychic imbalance, a disintegration of the self, where a man loses contact with his inner authority and becomes a mirror for the needs of others, especially women. You weren't born to orbit around someone else. Yet somehow, you became the moon to her moods, the therapist to her traumas, the butler to her emotions. You might think staying makes you strong, but it isn't. That's compliance. That's submission disguised as devotion. And she can feel it. That's why she stops being drawn to you. The truth is brutal, she never loved the real you. She loved the version of you that danced to her chaos. So here's what must happen. You must disappear. Not physically, not violently, not with anger. Energetically. Withdraw your lifeline. Not to punish, but to return to yourself. No man can become whole while constantly bleeding for someone else's validation. Jung explained that the path to wholeness, individuation, is a solitary road. It begins when you stop reacting, stop explaining, and stop offering your emotional flesh to those who only feast when they're hungry. When you remove yourself from that emotional economy, everything changes. She can no longer manipulate what she can't touch. She can no longer predict a man who has become opaque. And most importantly, she can no longer define you. This isn't indifference. This is ascension. You become unavailable, not out of hate, but because you refuse to abandon yourself for someone else. You become a storm she cannot map, a soul she cannot profile. In that space, she will either evolve or exit. And you rise. You were taught that being a good man means being there, being patient, being strong. But nobody warned you about the cost. No one told you that constant availability would become a currency so devalued it could be spent without gratitude. Every instant reply, every late-night conversation, every fight you diffused, all that didn't make her love you more. It only made her expect more. The man who is always emotionally reachable becomes a tool, not a mystery. Tools are not loved. They're used. Jung said people will do anything to avoid facing their own souls. That's why many women seek men who are perpetually available. It spares them from confronting their own void. Your presence becomes their painkiller. The moment you stop, they accuse you of being distant, cold, selfish. But they're not missing you, they're missing the control they had over your emotions. This is why your silence enrages more than your arguments ever did. Your stillness feels like betrayal. Because now, you're not reacting. You're observing. You're pulling back. For the first time, she confronts a version of you that exists without her validation. This is where masculine power begins, not domination, but the power to remain unmoved. When she can't manipulate you through silence, moods, or seduction, she faces herself. And most cannot. You'll notice the panic, the provocation, the sudden kindness, or cruelty. Not because you hurt her, but because your detachment exposed dependency. This is the psychology no one teaches men. You don't need to yell, punish, or explain. You only need to stop being available to women who haven't turned your inner world. The dynamic changes instantly. She can't predict you. Your withdrawal breaks her script. And unpredictability dismantles manipulation. Stillness is the ultimate form of power. Your withdrawal shows you don't need her attention to feel complete. Your masculinity is no longer borrowed, it's reclaimed. This is where the real journey begins. You might think you're walking away from her, but in truth, you're walking toward yourself. The grounded, unavailable, unshakable man is not lonely. He's becoming legendary. The most powerful moment in a man's life isn't falling in love, it's realizing he doesn't need love to feel alive. When he can sit alone, untouched, unchosen, and radiate presence, he becomes the man women sense but cannot grasp. Not because he's mysterious, but because he has reclaimed something they cannot access, his psychic autonomy. Jung described this as returning the self from the collective unconscious. Most men hand over their inner compass to the emotional weather of those they desire, but the one who reclaims himself is free. Most men become emotionally colonized, they depend on responses for worth, on reciprocation for joy, on being needed for identity. But when you stop being available, when you extract your emotional lifeline, Everything becomes clear. Her affection was never unconditional. Your validation was rented, not earned. Your presence was expected, not respected. And you start to remember who you were before being fragmented for connection. Grief follows clarity. You mourn the version of yourself that gave too much, explained too much, comforted while bleeding. But this grief isn't weakness, it's initiation. It scrapes away dependency. Women feel it, even if they don't understand Jung. They sense the loss of control and panic. You no longer chase, no longer react, no longer over-justify. You become still, and stillness threatens more than anger ever did. You'll notice her tone changing. First, testing. Then mocking. Then praising. Then guilt-tripping. Don't bend. Don't explain. Don't react. Every time you return to silence, to sovereignty, to sacred unavailability, you gain something far greater than approval. You gain yourself. This is not rejection of women. It's liberation from needing them to feel whole. And paradoxically, that's what makes you irresistible. She cannot seduce the man who does not need. She cannot manipulate the man who does not chase. She cannot test the man who is no longer playing her game. He's already one step beyond. There's a hidden truth few men ever discover: your presence is your power, but only when it's rare. The more available you are, the less value you hold. Scarcity creates significance. Women may say they want attention, affection, reassurance. But what actually ignites them is the man anchored in himself. The man who doesn't move because she snaps her fingers, who doesn't give his spirit out of boredom, who doesn't flinch when affection is withheld. That man is dangerous, not physically, but spiritually. He cannot be harnessed. Jung often spoke of the shadow, the hidden, repressed side of the psyche. For many men, the shadow isn't rage or ego. It's the need to be needed, a psychological thirst to be wanted, liked, chosen. It may look like kindness, but it's really a plea for identity. And this weakness is often exploited. She doesn't respect you because you're kind. She respects you when your kindness has boundaries. If she knows no matter how she treats you, you'll still show up, still comfort her, still validate her, your soul loses value. You become a tool, not a human. Stop being available, not as a tactic, but as genuine self-respect, and watch the structure collapse. Her moods are no longer your weather. Her confusion is no longer your burden. Her emotions are no longer your responsibility. In that collapse, something rare emerges. She finally sees you, not the projection, not the performance, but the man, solid, unmoved, absent yet present, not eager yet aware. This is where Jung's teachings land with brutal elegance. The man who integrates his shadow is no longer manipulated by the world around him. He doesn't need to be liked. He doesn't need to be desired. He doesn't even need to be understood. He is whole. You don't need to fight her, debate her, or correct her. You simply return to yourself. Every time you do, you teach the world how to treat you. Attention is earned, not expected. Silence is not absence, but presence. Distance is not punishment, but protection. You become a man she cannot label, a man she cannot map. In a world where men are usually easy to read, you become a hardcover mystery written in a language only solitude can teach. At first, she'll misread your unavailability. She'll assume it's games, testing, provocation. That's what she's used to. Men who withdraw usually do it to gain leverage. But you're done playing. You've crossed a threshold few ever reach. Your silence is a language. One spoken only by men who have buried their old selves, mourned their naivety, and refused to negotiate their peace. You no longer explain your intentions. You no longer validate feelings while your own decay. You no longer offer peace on the altar of someone else's attention. You return to the oldest masculine instinct, solitude as sanctuary. Jung believed growth didn't happen in the light, but in the depths, in the shadow. That's where you are now. Every urge to respond, you resist. Every need to fix, you release. Every guilt trip she throws, you smile inwardly. She's not attacking you, she's testing the boundary you finally built. That boundary is sacred. And slowly, a strange new feeling begins: lightness. Calm. At first, numbness might creep in. You'll question yourself. Wonder if you've grown cold. You haven't. You're not cold, you're clean. Your soul is no longer bleeding. You're conserving your psychic energy. No more battles you didn't start. No more bleeding for closeness that leaves you hollow. You stop chasing a version of intimacy that demands self-erasure. That's where true power begins. Not in conquest, charm, or being the perfect partner. But in being a man who refuses to negotiate with his peace. The world notices. Not just women, but everyone. You speak less, but your words carry weight. You appear less, but your presence cracks the air. You're selective. Grounded. Not desperate. Those drawn to weakness will quietly leave, and that's purification. What remains is truth, you, the man who remembered himself. There will come a morning when you wake, no urge to check your phone, no need to prove yourself, no impulse to reach out. Just stillness. Silent confidence humming under your skin. You sip coffee, hear the wind, notice the birds, and realize you've crossed over. You're no longer orbiting anyone. You've become your own gravity. This is what happens when you stop being available. Everything changes, not just her, but you. She may attempt to re-enter softly at first, then aggressively. She may call you cold, selfish, cruel, arrogant. Don't take it personally. These are names people use when they can no longer control you. You are no longer the emotional ATM, the default, the emergency therapist. You are a man defined by choices, not reactions. Jung taught that individuation, the becoming of your true self, requires a kind of sacred exile. Pulling away from false roles, false affections, false duties. It's lonely, yes. But it's the only path to freedom. In solitude, you discover yourself when no one is needing, no one is pulling, no one is watching. That man who thrives in his silence is unforgettable. He speaks less, means more, appears rarely, yet commands presence. Gives little, but it's real. You were never meant to be a background character in your own life. Never meant to be endlessly available while starving for your own needs. You were meant to be whole. Whole men are not available to everyone. They do not explain boundaries. They walk away without noise. And in that silence, they build empires. If this message resonates, feel it stirring in your chest. It's not bitterness, not heartbreak. It's the call to rise, reclaim, return. Start small. Delay a reply. Say no without apology. Sit with discomfort rather than rushing to fix her. Let her miss you. Wonder. Realize what she lost when you stopped performing. Not for revenge. For rebirth. When loneliness creeps in, and it will, don't rush to escape. Let it carve the silence into strength. On the other side of that loneliness is not isolation, but sovereignty. Stopping availability doesn't make you less of a man. It makes you more. Not reachable at will, but memorable, respected, irreplaceable. Every time you withdraw, something shifts, not just in her, but in you. She may try to pull you back softly at first, then aggressively. She might call you selfish, cold, cruel, or arrogant. Don't take it personally. These are the words people use when they can no longer control someone. You are no longer her emotional ATM. No longer the emergency therapist. No longer the default. You are a man defined by your choices, not your reactions. Carl Jung taught that true growth, the process of individuation, requires a kind of sacred exile. Pulling away from false roles, false affections, false obligations. It's lonely, yes. But it's the only path to real freedom. In solitude, you discover yourself when no one is watching, no one is pulling, no one is needing. That man who thrives in his own silence is unforgettable. He speaks less, yet every word carries weight. He appears rarely, but his presence commands attention. He gives little, but what he gives is real. You were never meant to be a background character in your own life. Never meant to be endlessly available while starving for your own needs. You were meant to be whole. Whole men are not available to everyone. They do not explain boundaries. They walk away without noise. And in that silence, they build empires. If you feel something stirring inside as you hear this, don't ignore it. This is not bitterness. Not heartbreak. It's a call to rise, to reclaim, to return to yourself. Start small. Delay your replies. Say no without apology. Sit with discomfort instead of rushing to fix her. Let her miss you. Let her wonder. Let her realize what she lost when you stopped performing. Not for revenge. For rebirth. Loneliness will come. And when it does, don't run from it. Let it shape you. Let it carve your silence into strength. On the other side of that loneliness is sovereignty. When you stop being available, you don't lose manhood. You gain it. You become a man they cannot reach at will, a man they remember, a man they respect, a man they cannot replace. With time, you will notice subtle changes. You speak less, but your words matter more. You appear less, but your presence shifts the room. You give selectively, but what you give has weight. People notice. Women notice. Your energy is no longer cheap. Your attention is scarce. And in that scarcity, you find freedom. Your boundaries, once invisible, now radiate like a shield. Women, and everyone, respond to it, sometimes with frustration, sometimes with admiration. This is not about control. It's about self-respect. It's about reclaiming your psychic autonomy. You are no longer an emotional resource to be tapped at will. You are your own center, and your energy is yours alone. The shift can feel violent internally. You grieve the version of yourself that gave too much. You mourn the hours spent explaining, comforting, bleeding while others thrived. That grief isn't weakness. It's initiation. It scrapes away dependence. It cleanses your soul of the rot of validation seeking. And women sense it, even if they don't understand Jung. They sense the loss of control, the solidification of your independence. Now, you respond differently. You no longer chase. You no longer react. You no longer over-justify. You simply exist. And your existence, calm and centered, changes the dynamic entirely. Your stillness is more powerful than argument. Your silence carries weight that words never could. You're no longer negotiating your peace for someone else's comfort. You've returned to yourself. You've reclaimed your oldest masculine instinct, solitude as sanctuary. Every urge to respond, you resist. Every need to fix, you release. Every guilt trip, you observe without reaction. She is not attacking you. She is testing the boundaries you've finally built. And those boundaries are sacred. A strange lightness will follow. Calm, silent confidence. At first, it may feel like numbness. You might doubt yourself, wonder if you've grown cold. But you haven't. You are clean. Your soul is no longer bleeding. You are finally conserving your energy. No more battles you didn't start. No more emotional hemorrhage for closeness that leaves you hollow. True power begins here, not in charm, conquest, or performance, but in choosing yourself over obligation. The world takes notice. Your presence cracks the air. Your selectivity commands respect. Those drawn to your weakness quietly exit. Let them leave. Their departure purifies your space. What remains is truth, you, the man who remembered himself. Eventually, you'll wake one morning without the urge to check your phone, without the need to prove your worth, without impulses to reach out. Just stillness. Silent confidence humming beneath your skin. You'll sip your coffee, hear the wind, notice the birds, and realize, you are no longer orbiting anyone. You've become your own gravity. This is the result of stopping availability. Everything shifts, not just in others, but in you. She may return softly, then aggressively. She may label you cruel, selfish, or arrogant. These words are signs you've become untouchable. You are no longer a convenience, a tool, or a default. You are a man defined by choices, by inner authority, by stillness. This is not bitterness. Not revenge. Not heartbreak. It's rebirth. Start small. Delay a reply. Sit with discomfort instead of rushing to fix her. Let her wonder. Let her miss you. Every moment of restraint is a step back to yourself. Every act of self-possession is a step toward sovereignty. And on the other side of that patience and loneliness is true freedom, not isolation, but power. When you stop being available, you do not lose your masculinity. You reclaim it. Not as a man others can reach at will, but as a man they remember, respect, and cannot replace. This is the final truth. Your presence is your power. Your attention is sacred. Your silence is a language. Your boundaries are a shield. And in this quiet reclamation, you become unforgettable, not because you chase, not because you perform, not because you explain, but because you have become whole.